Welcome to the Gospel Sleep, a peaceful corner made just for you. If your heart feels weary, if your thoughts won't quiet down, if you've been lying awake, trying to find peace, you've come to the right place. Tonight, let go of everything that burdens you. You don't need to be strong right now. You don't need to figure it all out. You only need to rest in God's presence. As you listen, imagine sitting beside a gentle fire under the night sky. The air is cool. The stars are bright. And the Word of God flows softly around you like the sound of a river. Each verse whispers truth into your heart. Be still and know that I am God. Let those words wash over your thoughts and calm the storm within. Here, in this moment, God meets you right where you are in your exhaustion, in your fears, in your sleepless nights. He's not waiting for you to be perfect. He's simply inviting you to rest. Every video on this channel is created to help you find that sacred stillness to breathe, to reflect, and to fall asleep in peace. So whenever life feels overwhelming, open godly sleep and let the spirit of calm surround you. If you haven't already, please subscribe and be part of our loving community of believers who rest together in His Word each night. Share these moments with others who might need peace too. Together, we can create a haven of calm where everyone is reminded you are loved, you are safe, and God is near. Now, take one more deep breath, exhale, and rest. You're exactly where you're meant to be in the gentle arms of peace. Tonight I sit with you in the hush of evening. I speak in a voice that is low and steady. I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel rested. Even if the day left its marks on your chest, settle into your place. Make the small adjustments that bring comfort. Ease a shoulder. Smooth the bedding. Turn off the bright lights if you can. Let whatever is warm and familiar wrap around you. If a small lamp is on, let it glow soft and slow. If the room is dark, let the silence hold you like a blanket. Take a gentle breath with me. Breathe in through the nose. Hold for a moment. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Repeat once more. Feel the body giving in, the muscles releasing their tightness, the jaw unclenching. Let the breath find its natural pace. Tonight is a quiet harbor. Tonight is permission to rest. I will read to you from God's Word. I read not to instruct in debate, but to soothe a heart that feels heavy. My tone stays kind. My pace stays measured. I choose passages that comfort, passages that remind the soul of mercy and steady hope. I do not rush the words. I let each phrase breathe. After each short passage, I stay silent for a while. In that silence, the message settles. It becomes a quiet presence in the room. You do not need to believe more than what your heart can hold tonight. You only need to let the words move through you like a little stream. If some of the images seem far away, imagine them close. If some words stir an ache, let the ache be noticed without pressure. God's Word tends the heart like a gentle hand, not a harsh command. Mercy comes first. Comfort follows. The world is noisy. The mind keeps a long list of small and large troubles. The body may feel worn. That is why this hour is soft. I am here to be a steady voice beside you. Let the reading be like a lullaby sung by someone who knows the path through darkness. Each sentence is a footstep toward calm. Picture a lamp in a small room. The light does not banish what is outside, but it holds a circle of warmth. Picture a shore where waves come and go. The tide does not demand control. It simply moves in a rhythm. Rest here with those images. They are humble. They are true. If you carry guilt, imagine setting it down. Imagine placing it on a stone at the edge of the water. The stone is not heavy for long. The current takes what is loose. If worry pulls at the chest, imagine untying a small knot. Let the fingers hold the rope for a moment. Then let it rest. No effort to fix everything tonight. Only small, kind acts toward yourself. I will speak of assurance. That word means a quiet knowledge that someone cares. It does not mean that every question will be answered now. It means a presence near enough to touch. The scriptures speak of a shepherd who knows the sheep. They speak of rest after long travel. They offer rest that is not shallow, but the kind that seeps into bone. Tonight we walk into that rest slowly. Do not expect a hurried sermon. Expect a bedside reading. Expect brief commentary in my voice. And then more quiet. The goal is not to win an argument. The aim is to offer mercy and hope stitched into gentle language. If theology feels heavy, set it aside. Let the words be felt more than analyzed. Safety is in the feeling tonight. If you are awake because of worry, hold this truth. Worry can be a messenger, but it does not have to be your lodger. Give it a small corner of attention for a moment. Listen to what it says. Decide if it demands action now or can be entrusted to rest until morning. When the day returns, there will be time to act. For now, practice the gentle discipline of letting go. Tonight we also practice gratitude, not as a task, but as a soft gaze. Think of one small mercy from today, perhaps a warm cup, a brief smile, a breath that was easier for an hour. Hold it lightly. Let it be a cushion under the heavier things. Gratitude is not a cure-all. It is a small light to carry for a while. Now, I will explain how I will guide this hour. First, I read a short passage. I read slowly. I use pauses, like spaces between bricks. After the reading, I let silence stretch for a moment. In that silence, I give you time to breathe and to let the words touch. Then I speak a short reflection. The reflection stays simple. It draws out an image or a single promise. After that, I pray softly. The prayer is brief and gentle, like a hand laid on a shoulder. Finally, we sit with a moment of silence, and then I move to the next passage. This pattern repeats. It is steady and gentle. It is like a measured heartbeat. If you wish, close your eyes as the words come. If closing them feels uncomfortable, keep them slightly open and focus on a small object in the room. The reading does not demand concentration that strains. It is designed to be heard while the body unwinds. I am mindful of tiredness. My voice will not tire you. It stays even and calm. If you find sleep coming, allow it. The program is a gift to the tired body. Sleep may arrive in the silence between words. That is welcome. Should sleep take you before the end, trust that the rest is right for you now. When you wake later, the comfort of these words will still be with you in memory. There may be times when the heart resists consolation. That happens. Resistance does not mean failure. It means the heart needs time. Keep listening. Let the words infiltrate slowly. Mercy often arrives like a slow dawn rather than a sudden light. It warms inch by inch. Hold patience as a companion. Tonight, I place particular attention on hope in Christ. Hope here is not a distant promise, but a present help. It is the knowledge that even in small rooms and quiet nights, there is a steady grace that does not abandon. This hope does not erase sorrow. Instead, it holds sorrow within a larger story. It offers a hand, a steady voice, a presence that walks the night with you. The reading will include images of shelter, like a refuge from storm. It will include images of provision, like a table set when hunger has been long. It will include images of guidance, like a lamp for the feet when roads are uneven. Each image is simple. Each image aims to rest the imagination in wholesome shapes. Let the mind accept one image at a time. Do not stack them or analyze them. Watch one image unfold like a small scene in a safe house. Music is gentle tonight. If music plays in the background where you are, let it be low and slow. If there is no music, allow the natural sounds, distant cars, a clock's soft tick, wind in leaves, to be a quiet accompaniment. The world makes a low cadence. The Bible's words fit into that cadence like a chosen verse of a hymn. If sorrow feels near enough to name, give it a name. Naming is not a burden. It is a way to hand the sorrow to God. Say the name softly in your mind. Observe it without shame. Then imagine setting that named sorrow in both hands and offering it forward. This is an act of faith and of trust in a presence that does not dismiss pain but attends to it. I do not promise a cure. I promise company. I promise patience. I promise to speak words that hold you rather than hurry you. The comfort of Scripture often arrives, not as an argument, but as a warmth that loosens the grip of fear. Allow that warmth to move through the chest like summer light through curtains. It helps to think of small, practical things to aid sleep. Let the feet be warm. Let the breathing be regular. Turn the phone away from your face. Drink a small sip of water if the throat feels dry. These small acts create a tidy space in which the mind can settle. They are part of the gentle ritual for the evening. Tonight is not about performance. It is about presence. It is about allowing the voice of Scripture to be a soft companion. If tears come, permit them. Tears are not weakness. They are a form of release. Allow them to come, and then let them go. The room still holds you. The lamp still glows. The breath returns to its steady rhythm. Before I begin the first reading, take one more steady breath. Feel the place under the back where the mattress supports. Notice any part of the body that still holds tightness. Breathe toward that place. Imagine a slow tide washing through, carrying tension out. Let the shoulders lower. Let the face soften. I will now start with a brief passage that speaks of quiet rest and steady care. I read slowly. I allow space for the breath between phrases. After the passage, I pause. Then I offer a short reflection and a soft prayer. Stay as long as you need. There is no hurry. Tonight we move at the pace of comfort and mercy. I speak now to R. I know a little of the weight carried in that name. I do not need every story. I do not need every scar. Tonight the aim is simple. Rest is the only task. Come closer in the imagination. Picture a narrow path that leads to a small house. The path is not crowded. It holds only a few pebbles and the soft press of grass. A low light burns at the doorway. The house smells faintly of warm bread and cedar. The door opens without noise. Step in slowly. Feel the floor steady beneath the feet. Set any heavy things in a corner. The heavy things may be lists, regrets, fears. Lay them down as if setting a coat on a peg. The coat keeps its shape. So do the cares. When placed gently aside, they are not vanishing. They are simply given a safe place for now. Make a small seat by the window. Let the lamp on the table glow warm and steady. If a candle is nearby, let it breathe its quiet light. If the world outside is loud, imagine the noise receding like a tide. If the room itself carries echoes, let them soften into a hush. This house holds a quiet that does not rush. Breathe with me once. Breathe in slow. Hold the breath for a soft count. Release like a breeze leaving a reed. There is room for the breath to move. The chest loosens. Tension comes away in small threads. Keep this breathing gentle. Let it set the pace. Tonight I offer a simple invitation. It is to R and to any heart that listens. The invitation is to come and rest. It is not a test. It is not a checklist. It is a hand held out in the dark. Accept it if the hand feels steady. Decline if the heart is not ready. Either choice is honored. I will read aloud from the pages I carry. My voice will be low. My pace will be measured. I choose passages that speak of shelter and quiet mercies. I do not insist on answers. I offer images and small promises. The words are like a lamp for a short stretch of road. You walk the rest. Before the reading, make a small ritual. It takes only a moment. Place a palm over the place where breath is felt best. Name one thing that presses at the mind. Say its name silently. Let it sit in the palm. Then imagine setting it down at the threshold of the small house. Watch it rest there like a pebble. This is not final. It is simply a way to mark a change of attention. If the eyes are open, soften the gaze. If closed, let the lids rest like curtains. Do not strain to keep anything in focus. The mind does not need to solve anything. It needs a short space to be heard, and then to be cradled. I will not use long arguments or heavy words. I favor short images. A shepherd who knows a sheep. A table with bread for the hungry. A lamp that shines on the next footstep. These images are small and plain. They do not demand explanation. They invite trust by their simplicity. Tonight, mercy is the leading motion. Mercy feels like warm water on tired hands. It does not ask for a perfect report. It accepts the hand as it is. Hope comes as a quiet promise. It is not a sweeping guarantee that pain will vanish at once. It is a steady presence that walks beside pain, holding a lantern. I know worry may come back between the words. That is expected. When it comes, treat it as a visitor. Ask it to sit for a moment. Hear what it says. Offer it water if needed. Then gently guide it to the back room. Do not lock the door. Do not shame the visitor. Keep a cup of listening in case it returns. For now, place the visitor somewhere softer. There is room for grief here too. Grief is like rain that will not hurry. It may fall in soft sheets or in small, steady drops. Allow it to fall without embarrassment. The roof of the small house holds the rain. The house is not brittle. It bends a little and stays whole. Tears are not a sign of weakness. They are a way the heart breathes. I think of R as a friend who has walked a long day. The feet ache. The shoulders are tired. The heart may feel thin at the edges. The invitation is simply to come in, to set down burdens, to be offered a cup and a chair. There is no need to explain everything. There is no need for full repair tonight. Partial rest is true. Rest too. When I read, I let each sentence hang like a lantern. I pause between phrases. Silence is part of the text. It lets the sound settle into the skin. In those pauses, images float up. In those pauses, the heart can answer or simply listen. I do not hurry to fill the silence. Listen now to a small picture. Imagine a hiker who finds an old stone bench on a ridge. The bench faces east. The morning comes and paints the world slow and gold. The hiker does not fix the day. The hiker sits and lets the light work. The light warms a few places. The hiker breathes, and a knot in the chest loosens a little. This is the kind of rest I read about. It is ordinary. It is steady. It does not erase hard things. It steadies the person who carries them. If prayer feels comfortable, bow the head in the quiet. If prayer feels distant, allow a simple breath to be the prayer. A breath that names one need and then releases it. The posture is less important than the act of handing the need over for a short while into a steady presence. I will not tell you to solve everything by morning. I will not promise that decisions will be easy when the sun rises, but I promise that the night can be gentled. The edges of fear can soften. The mind can find a steadier rhythm. A small, plain confidence grows from being heard and held. I am mindful of a gentle rule. Do not pile too many images at once. Let one image sit. Watch how it offers a small place to rest. The mind likes to be given one pebble rather than a sack. Take one pebble, examine its smoothness. Let it be enough. If a memory surfaces that is sharp, let it pass. In the same way, a bird crosses a window. Notice its feathers. Notice the direction. Do not chase it. Do not trap it. Let it move on. The movement may leave a small ease in the chest. The voice used tonight will be steady. It will not climb or plunge. It will keep to a line like a gentle river. If the eyes grow heavy, allow them to close. If sleep arrives, accept it. The reading was intended to be a harbor, not a test of wakefulness. R may wonder about doubts. Doubts are like fog on a road. They hide details. The path is still there. Move slowly. Place one foot in front of the other. Trust a small step. That is the motion of faith in quiet times. It is simple and gradual. I will read a short passage I have chosen. The passage brings a few images I hope will rest the mind. I will not sermonize. I will simply let the words be. After the reading, a short silence will follow. Use that silence to breathe and to notice how the words touch. Then a tiny reflection will come. A single thought drawn from the passage. Finally, a brief, soft prayer will follow. The prayer will be like a hand touching the shoulder and stepping back. Before I pick up the pages, make one small choice. Choose a comfort nearby. A blanket, a shawl, a pillow. Fold it over the knees. Let the simple weight be a small anchor. The anchor does not fix everything. It grounds a moment. Grounding helps the voice reach deeper. I keep my hands visible when I read. The hands make slow gestures now and then. The gestures are not for show. They are a way to map the words into the body. The rhythm of the hands helps the listener feel the pace. A light tap on the book signals a longer pause. A gentle lift of the hand signals an invitation to breathe. I do not seek applause. I seek the hush between breaths. I measure success by the quiet that falls on the shoulders. If the shoulders lower, the night is doing its work. If the heart resists rest, name the resistance gently. Is it fear of tomorrow, an old habit that distrusts calm? Speak its name without harshness. Then offer it a seat near the window. Let it watch. It may soften as it watches the slow sweep of lamplight across the floor. The invitation to R carries no timeline. Stay as long as needed. The house of rest does not ask for a schedule. Time here moves by the slow metronome of breath. Now I reach for the Bible. The cover is worn in a few places. The pages whisper as they open. My finger finds the passage I chose. The lamp makes a small circle of light on the page. The edges of the room are softer in that light. This is the moment I have invited R into. The small house is quiet. The breath is steady. The cup sits warm on the table. The page waits. I will read slowly. I will leave space after each line. I will let the silence do its work. If sleep comes before the end, it is welcome. If the mind wishes to stay, it is welcome too. The invitation was sincere, not conditional. Rest is a gift. Mercy is the means. I make one last, gentle request. Allow the words to touch one simple place in the heart. It may be a place of fear, a place of tiredness, a place of hope. Let the words press lightly there. Do not force them. Let them settle. I begin now. I open the Bible and let the lamp rest on the page. My finger finds Ephesians chapter 4. The paper is soft at the edges. The light makes a small island on the page. I read slowly. Each phrase lands like a quiet footstep. The passage asks for truth spoken in love. It asks for a gentle heart. It asks for patience and for bearing with one another in a spirit of unity. It asks that anger not become a long habit. It names things to put away falsehood. Bitter words. Sharp speech. Then it gives the invitation I like to linger on. Bekind. Be tender-hearted. Forgive one another. As God in Christ forgave you. I let that last line rest in the air. Silence follows the words. The room listens. A clock breathes softly somewhere beyond the walls. In that silence, the meaning drifts like a slow current. Forgiveness is offered not as a law to be mastered quickly. It arrives as a small offering, laid on a table. Keep it close. Keep it simple. Let it sit and do its gentle work. Forgiveness is like the act of opening a window after a house has held stale air. The house does not become new in an instant, but a breeze starts. It moves through corners. Things that have felt heavy begin to feel lighter. That is the image I carry when I think of what the text asks. This is for anyone who carries a small or large hurt. It is for the one who was hurt and for the one who is tempted to hold the hurt, like a coin pressed into a palm. There is a careful nuance here. Forgiveness does not erase memory. It does not remove the facts of what happened. It does not always mean a resumed closeness. It simply frees the holder of a burden that is not meant to be carried alone. The passage compares it to letting go of bitter words and hard feelings. The letting go is a relief for the heart. It is a mercy offered to the one who bears the weight. Picture the small house from before. A heavy stone sits by the door. It is a smooth stone, rounded by many tides. On it rests names of hurts. The stone is heavy in the hand. It fits there like a stubborn coin. Now picture setting the stone down at the threshold. It does not roll away on its own. It waits. The doorway is low and safe. A hand from inside reaches out. The stone is taken and put on a shelf. The shelf holds it without strain. The person inside sits and breathes. That is forgiveness held gently. It is a deliberate act. It is not a performance. It is a small act that begins to change how the body holds memory. Breathe with me for a moment. Inhale slowly. Imagine the breath gathering all the tightness in the chest. Hold for a breath and name one small hurt in your mind. Give it a simple name. Exhale, as if placing that named thing on the stone at the door. Feel the shoulders lower by a fraction. Repeat once. The second exhale carries a tiny easing. That is a practical way to begin the work the passage asks for. The scripture I read reminds that speech matters. Harsh talk tightens the throat. Gentle talk opens a small space. When anger rises, do not let the sun set on it in a way that builds a wall. Tend the anger with small care. A single gentle word can loosen a knot. An acted kindness can water a dry place. These are small things, not dramatic feats. They are the kind work of ordinary days. Forgiving one another mirrors the forgiveness given in Christ. That is the heart of the instruction. There is a pattern set. Mercy received becomes mercy given. This is not a challenge to erase the harm. It is a hand extended to the weary. Mercy breaks the chain that binds the past to the present in a way that leaves the bearer cramped and small. Mercy opens a path forward. Even if the path is narrow and imperfect, I remember reading these words in my own darker nights. A stubborn anger sat like a pebble under the tongue. Saying the words aloud did not immediately change the weight, but each small practice of offering that pebble to the shelf by the door made the walk easier. The body learns to hold less tightly. The breath returns to a more generous measure. That is the promise tucked in Ephesians 4. It is practical, not mystical. It is tender, not theatrical. Forgiveness also asks for a gentle honesty. It asks the heart to name anger without becoming angry with itself for feeling it. The text urges putting off harsh speech. It asks for kind action. So practice starts small. Notice the tone that surfaces when a memory comes. If it edges toward sharpness, soften it. If a reply wants to be quick and cutting, pause. Breathe. Choose one softer phrase. The smaller the step, the more sustainable the habit becomes. Sometimes the deepest help is a simple act of kindness towards oneself. This might look like wrapping a blanket around the knees when the chest clenches. It might look like putting a hand over the place where the heart feels braced. Say a single line inside mercy for this moment. Repeat as needed. These acts are not substitutes for careful reconciliation, where it is possible and safe. They are ways to keep the heart whole, while such work is paced out. Forgiveness often arrives as a series of small surrenders, not a single grand decision. A surrender might be choosing not to rehearse an old hurt at night. Another surrender might be answering a memory with gratitude for a small mercy that came later. The passage invites this practice. Beginnt. Be tender. It is simple language that holds a deep work. There will be times when forgiveness looks like boundaries. Saying no to further harm is not unforgiveness. It is an act of care. The text allows room for wisdom. Forgiveness does not require removing the necessary shields that keep a person safe. It asks for a change in holding, not a reckless reopening of wounds. Hold the line. Forgive the weight. Protect the self. In this quiet hour, imagine carrying a small bowl of warm water. Take the stone I mentioned and place it briefly into the bowl. Watch the surface steam in the lamplight. The water does not wash away the shape of the stone. It only means the stone has been touched with warmth. This warmth does not condone the harm. It only says that the one who bears the stone will not be burned by it tonight. That is mercy. It is gentle. It is real. Now a short silence. Let the images settle. Let the slow tide of breath move. If a name rises, if a memory steps forward, watch without chasing. Let it pass like a cloud. If forgiveness seems far, keep the stone near. Put it on the shelf and come back to it tomorrow. The habit of placing it gently is part of the healing. I speak a very small prayer now. The prayer is simple and hushed. It asks for the heart to learn gentleness. It asks for words to be soft where they must be spoken. It asks for the courage to set down burdens that do not belong to the body. Mercy for the weary, strength for discernment, room for rest. Amen. The prayer is quiet. It is not elaborate. It is like a hand laid softly on a sleeping shoulder. There is one practical thing to carry from this moment into the night. Choose one small action you can take in the morning that practices the mercy you heard. It might be an extra kind sentence to yourself when you wake. It might be a short note of thanks to someone who has shown care. It might be a deliberate pause before an expected answer. Small acts stitch new paths in the heart. The light on the page grows dimmer as the lamp breathes. The house keeps its hush. The stone on the shelf stays safe. Forgiveness is not a command that crushes. It is an invitation that eases the grip. Let the gentle pace of the room be the rhythm for this work. Do one small mercy. Rest. Do another tomorrow. I close the book for a moment and rest my hand on its cover. The room is quiet. The breath has slowed. If sleep comes, allow it. If the mind lingers, return to the image of the shelf and the warm bowl. Let the mercy of the passage become a small practice. We will sit with other pages later. For now, live the small relief that comes from offering the burden up, even for a single night. I lift the Bible again. The lamp makes a soft circle on the page. My finger rests on a short line. I visit often. I read it slowly and let the sound hang in the room. The words come like a small balm. They say that grace is given in the place where weakness lives. The thought is simple and strange. Power can show up most clearly when a person feels most frail. These words do not tell a person to perform. They do not demand a tidy strength. They say the opposite when the body trembles, when the spirit feels thin. That is the field where grace can grow. The light on the page feels warm. The room feels like a small harbor. The idea settles like a steady breath. I stay quiet for a long moment after the reading. The silence takes its time. It is not empty. It is a kind of listening. In that listening, I remember a small story. It is not a dramatic tale. It is a gentle one. It fits this hour because it shows the way grace moves in ordinary places. Two friends once lived a few houses apart. They shared small joys. They passed fruit in summer and held umbrellas for each other in sudden rain. Their lives braided around the small matters of daily care. Then a misunderstanding happens. It takes root in a small crevice. Un message arrive latte. A help that was expected does not come. Pride closes like a door between them. At first the hurt sits small. It is a pebble in a shoe. Both of them keep walking. Days stack up. The pebble rubs at the skin. One friend thinks the other forgot intentionally. The other thinks the first has become distant. Neither speaks honestly. Neither chooses the humble step of saying, I was hurt. I am sorry. So the pebble grows in the mind. It becomes a stone that, when picked up, feels like proof. They carry the stone in separate pockets. They watch the other from a distance. A smile looks guarded. Visits grow shorter. Invitations slip away. The neighborhood sees two silhouettes that no longer stop to chat. The heart tightens by degrees. Anger is not sharp at first. It is patient and slow. It settles in the house like a draft. Then one of them falls ill. Not dangerously, not in a way that makes the headlines. Just a weariness that lingers. Getting out of bed takes effort. Making tea feels like crossing a river. The friend in pain thinks of the stone. It sits heavy beside the pillow. In quiet hours, the mind counts the ways to justify keeping the stone. The logic of hurt feels right. Silence is easier than reaching out. But weakness changes the view. When making tea feels like a journey, the world can shrink down to what is essential: warmth, bread, a gentle presence in the room. The mind loosens its grip on the small proofs it had been holding. The stone looks different in weak light. It feels like an instrument that has been used to injure. The hand wonders if the stone might be set down. So a note goes out. It is not a formal confession. It is a small thing. It says, "I am not well." It says, "I miss the early walks." It says, "If you can come, a cup of tea would be welcome." The arrival of that note is like a hinge opening. The other person reads it and sees the stone differently. The reasons for holding it fall away. What remains is one neighbor who is tired, not an adversary. The visit is quiet. No speeches are made. Two chairs sit close. A kettle hisses softly. A spoon stirs sugar in a cup. The work of care begins with small movements. One hand takes a blanket from a shelf. Another hand wraps it gently. The act is not a performance. It is a mercy that flows naturally once the space is cleared. Forgiveness in that room does not come as a dramatic declaration. It comes as a series of small things. A warm mug set down, a bandage smoothed over a small ache, an admission of confusion said simply, a look that says, "I did not understand." There is no rehearsed apology. There is instead a soft naming of error and a willingness to carry what is needed now. In time they talk, not in heavy sentences, but in short, honest ones. The old proofs are shown and then placed on the table. They are examined with frankness and a strange tenderness. The stone is not blamed as a traitor. It is called what it is, a small hurt that grew because neither wanted to look foolish by saying they were hurt. Once named, the hurt loses its claim to power. This is where grace shows up. Neither person feels like they performed or forced forgiveness. Instead, the weakness of illness and the simplicity of a cup of tea make it easy to be humble. Mercy becomes the natural response, not the exceptional one. The power that both had once tried to claim slips away. Their small hands find space to offer and receive mercy. I think of that scene often when I read the words about strength in weakness. Grace does not need a polished person. It finds the places where a heart is soft enough to receive help. The paradox is tender. Strength is not the banning of frailty. It is the ability to let a hand come close. It is the trust that mercy will hold in the small room. This story is not meant to be a lesson that forces action. It is a gentle illustration. It shows that sometimes the only opening for reconciliation is the plain one. A soft reach, a short note, a warmth up. Grand apologies are beautiful. Quiet presence is often enough. The emphasis is on smallness. The movement toward one another does not require perfect words. It requires a lowered guard and a chosen kindness. When forgiveness arrives this way, it does not erase memory. Both friends remember the pebble and how it became a stone. They do not pretend it did not hurt. They simply are willing to carry less of that pain now. Their shared life regrows in small patches. They walk together again, sometimes in silence, sometimes with conversation. The habit of passing fruit returns. The umbrellas come out for sudden rain. This is the grace I read about on the page. It comes across like a lamp in a dark alley. It does not flout the darkness. It illumines a small part of it at a time. It allows a footing that is safe enough to continue. When weakness lowers a person's defenses, grâce Pauzin, the pouring is gentle. It is patient. There is another soft truth here. Giving or receiving help does not mean weakness is a failure. It is the place where the human heart is taught new measures. A friend learns to accept care. A carer learns to ask for rest. The shared recognition of limits becomes a glue, not a crack. I fold the memory into the silence between passages. The lamp breathes. The tea in the cup cools. The room listens. In this hush, the idea of grace feels less like doctrine and more like a hand that presses down a knot so it can relax. The image is small. It fits in the chest. A short, careful prayer follows. It is not long. It is not ornate. It asks for a simple learning. Teach the heart to notice when pride hides as strength. Teach the hands to move toward care rather than away. Give a few small mercies for the night. Make the places of weakness a welcome field for grace. Amen. Before the sleep that may come, I offer a tiny practice. Think of one small way to receive help tomorrow. It could be as simple as accepting an offered ride or sitting down to let someone bring a meal. If nothing is readily available, plan to ask one person for a small favor. The act of naming need in a sentence is already an exercise in trusting grace. It trains the heart to be honest. It trains the hands to reach. If a memory of pain rises tonight, try the same small method the friends used. Name the hurt softly in the mind. Place it on a nearby shelf in the imagination. Make a note in your heart that tomorrow you will consider whether a small word or a small act could ease the grip. Do not force a grand solution. Small mercy, repeated, builds a new path. I close the Bible gently. The pages whisper. My hand rests on the cover for a moment. The lamp's circle narrows. The room keeps its hush. The lesson of the night is not weighty. It is a soft invitation. Let weakness be a place for grace. Let small acts of care be the means of healing. Let forgiveness be practiced in tiny steps. Now take a long, even breath with me. Inhale slowly. Hold the breath. Picture a small lantern moving toward you. Not to brighten every corner, but to make the next step safer. Exhale and feel the shoulders loosen. One more breath. Gently. When sleep comes, let it come. When wakeful thoughts arrive, name one small mercy and return to rest. Tonight the Bible's words linger like a lamp. They call for a tenderness that breathes easily. The invitation is here. Accept it if you wish. Allow grace to find its way into the places of weakness. Rest, now, knowing that mercy walks with you. I open the Bible again. The lamp makes a small circle on the page. Mijn vinger vindt Psalm 4-6. I linger on a simple line there. Be still and know that I am God. I read it softly and let the phrase rest like a pebble in the palm. The words do not rush. They are not a command, shouted from a distance. They arrive like a voice at the edge of a field. The voice asks for pause. The voice asks for attention. In the quiet of the room, the phrase feels like an invitation more than an order. Being still is not the same as doing nothing out of stubbornness. It is an act of gentle courage. It is a choice to stop the small busyness that keeps the mind from noticing what matters most. Stillness opens a small door. Through that door, a quieter truth can come in. I hold a soft image for this hour. Picture the lamp on the table. Its light is not bright enough to erase the night. It is just enough to make the next small step clear. The lamp and the next step, that is the kind of stillness the psalm suggests, not a grand unveiling. A next step lit with care. When life feels sharp, stillness can seem impossible. The mind lists events, like weather updates. The heart tightens like a fist. But I have seen how a deliberate pause changes things. It does not fix everything. It makes room. That room invites a steady presence to come near. Acknowledging vulnerability is part of this pause. Admitting tiredness, fear, or weakness is not shameful. It is honest. It is the removing of a mask. In that honesty, a heart becomes soft enough for help. Grace meets the humble place, and strength follows, often in small measures. I remember a night not long ago when a neighbor named Elle sat very still in my small living room. The day had been long. The list of tasks remained unfinished. Words had been said in haste. I did not offer advice. I simply made a cup of tea and left the kettle warm on the table. We sat without a script. The silence felt heavy at first. Then it shifted. Breath slowed. One hand found the other. The air was different. The presence in the room felt like a careful hand that eased a knot. That moment did not heal everything. It did not change the past. It did something quieter. It taught the body that rest is not betrayal of duty. It showed that an honest pause can be a pathway to calmer decisions. The small grace in that room did its work like water on a dry root. It soaked in slowly and helped the root hold on. Stillness trains the senses differently. Sounds become less threatening. The rhythm of the heart becomes a tool for observation. An ache in the chest is noticed as a signal rather than a verdict. A thought that repeats is seen as a visitor, not an owner of the mind. This subtle shift is the entry point for God's strength to be felt. There is a practical way to practice this in the night. Sit or lie comfortably. Place a hand where the breath is easiest to feel. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Take one slow breath and name one small need silently. It might be rest, courage, forgiveness, or sleep. Hold that need like a small stone in the open palm of the imagination. Do not try to change it. Allow the stone to be what it is. Now gently say to the stone, "This is enough for tonight." Set the stone down at the room's threshold. Do not push it away. Do not demand that it vanish. Place it where it can rest. This action is not magical. It is a practice that trains a hand and a heart to let some burdens wait for morning. In that letting, a quiet trust can grow. Trust is not a sudden certainty. It is a slow confidence that someone steady is near. The Psalm's line points to that steady presence. Be still and know that I am God. Know is the heart finding a reliable fact. The knowing can be small. It can be a single, soft assurance in the chest that says, I am not alone tonight. Vulnerability has its own dignity. When a person admits needing help, it is not an admission of failure. It is a bridge built with simple planks. One plank might be a short text that says, I am tired. Another might be asking a friend to pray. Another plank might be accepting a quiet visit. Small actions like these show that strength and weakness are not enemies. They are partners in the human story. The night offers a particular kind of mercy. Tasks and urgencies often fade. A softer measure of time appears. In that slow measure, the heart can meet God's presence without the noise that usually crowds it out. Stillness in the night is not empty. Silence. It is a listening posture in which grace is more easily perceived. I want to share a small scene to hold in memory. Imagine a person who has worked many long hours. The hands are calloused. The mind is full of small calculations. One evening, a neighbor brings a simple loaf and sets it on the table. No speech is necessary. The loaf sits. They steams beside it. They sit. The worker lets the shoulders drop for the first time that day. There is no immediate solution to the busy week. There is only the quiet of two people being present. That quiet is the place where God's presence can gently enter. Often the first response to fear is to fight or to flee. Stillness asks for none of those extremes. It asks only for a steadying. In the stillness, a person learns to accept help and to receive the gifts that arrive in small forms. Mercy often arrives as a neutral act food. A warm blanket. A hand on the arm. A short prayer. These acts do not shout. They do their work quietly. If the night brings worry of the future, anchor the mind in one steady truth. Name one small thing that is known. Perhaps the body is tired and will benefit from sleep. Perhaps a friend cares. Perhaps a meal is planned. Keep one truth at the center like a candle. Let the rest of the room remain dim. This method is not a denial of difficulty. It is a way to hold a simple anchor, while the larger sea of concerns is still. When vulnerability is acknowledged openly, a new kind of strength appears. It is not the strength of self-sufficiency. It is the strength of being held. It is the power to ask for help and to accept it without shame. This power is often quieter than pride, but it lasts longer. It steadies decisions. It softens words. It helps a person sleep with the knowledge that the weight is shared. I offer a short practice for tonight before the reading continues. Place the hand on the chest. Breathe slowly 3 times. With each exhale, imagine setting down one small worry by the door of the small house you have visited. Do not make a list to be worried about later. Choose one worry that presses most tonight. Name it gently. Place it on the threshold. Close the door gently for the night. Leave the word there without hammering it. Shut. After the practice, sit quietly for a moment. Notice any change in the shoulders. Notice any easing around the throat. The change may be small, That is enough. Small changes repeated become habit. Habit becomes a friend in darker seasons. I read now a short line from the page again. The words are the lamp I have been describing. Be still and know that I am God. Let this phrase be your companion for the next minutes. If thoughts return, greet them kindly and return to the lamp. Do not scold the thoughts. The night is patient with thinkers. I fold this time into a gentle prayer. The prayer is quiet and simple. It asks for a softening where hearts are hard. It asks for room to breathe where lungs feel tight. It asks for courage to name weakness without shame. It asks for the grace to accept help in small, ordinary ways. The words are short and calm. They are an offering, not a demand. Tonight, I leave one small suggestion for the morning. Plan one tiny act of mercy to yourself. It might be laying out a comfortable sweater, making a tea, or writing a short note to someone who has been kind. This tiny act becomes a bridge between the night's stillness and the day's movement. It reminds the heart that help can be tender and practical. The lamp beside me grows quieter. The page rests. The hush of the room is steady like a slow tide. If sleep comes, accept it. If wakefulness remains, return to the small practice of setting one worry down at the threshold. Remember that stillness is not idleness. It is a posture that opens the heart to a steady presence. In that posture, grace is sufficient. Strength follows gently. I close the book for a moment and keep my hand on its cover. The room breathes. The promise of the psalm stays like a small light. Be still and know. Let that knowing be enough for tonight. Rest now, and let the quiet be a companion. I sit with the book in my lap and a soft lamp nearby. The room is quiet. My voice is low. Tonight, I bring a passage that holds a steady heart. It is a passage that names an assurance so plain that it settles like a blanket. I open to Romans. My finger rests on a familiar verse. I read the words slowly. For a moment, let them land without explanation, for I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor rulers, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation, will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. I let the sentence sit between the lamp and the dark. The sound of the words is soft. The words do not press for answers. They simply name a quiet fact. The voice of the room listens. Assurance is a small, steady thing. It is not a roar. It is a rope, knotted and strong, thrown across a choppy river. The rope is there, even if the water is high. The verse says that there is a love that does not loosen. Nothing pushes it off its post. Nothing takes its place. Think of a lighthouse on a night with long wind. The light keeps circling. The wind does not command the lighthouse to fail. The light does not hurry. It shines its pattern. This is the kind of constancy the passage shows. The world may spin with trouble. The light keeps its rhythm. Assurance is practical. It changes small acts. At midnight, when a worry climbs into the throat, the knowing that love is nearer than fear softens the chest. The heart can stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios. It can lay one worry down and breathe. That is not a trick. It is a simple reorientation. There are many things that tug at the heart. Loss tugs with a heavy hand. Regret threads through memory. Fear imagines many tomorrows. The verse does not promise immediate fixes for these realities. It promises a presence that refuses to let the heart be alone in them. That presence is a constant companion. Steady as a hand placed on a shoulder, I offer a short practice now. Place a hand over the place. The heart is easiest to feel. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. On the in-breath, think of the word love as a small light. Imagine the light entering the chest, warming like a soft ember. On the out-breath, let one small worry leave like a dry leaf. Do this 3 times. Each breath is a small rehearsal in trust. The body learns new rhythms by repetition. Trusting God's plan is not the same as being certain of every outcome. It is not a map that shows every turn. It is a trust in a steady gardener who tends the soil. Seeds are planted. Some sprout quickly. Some that wait do not indicate neglect. The gardener remembers each seed. The work is patient and careful. In the night, it helps to imagine that gardener close by. Picture hands that move with care. Picture someone who remembers where each seed was placed. The hands do not hurry. They do not scold the soil for being slow. This image is soft. It is a balm for restless minds that want to hurry the seasons. There is a small story I carry for nights like this. Once a woman lived near the sea. She would watch the tide and collect small shells. Her basket filled with ways the ocean shaped tiny things. One winter, a storm broke the shoreline. The beach changed overnight. She found a shell that was clamped tight to a stone. At first, she thought the sea had taken too much. Then she noticed that the shell had also held on to a small, bright piece of glass, smoothed like a jewel. The loss had been real. The keeping had been unexpected. She kept that shell by the window for many seasons. Each morning, she would see the glass and remember that even when the sea seemed to erase, it had also shaped something new into beauty. This image is a way of seeing assurance. Loss and love can exist together. The passage in Romans does not remove sorrow. It places love beneath it. Love does not always undo the evidence of struggle. It holds the person who walks through it. There is a gentle distinction to make. Trust is not a false bravery. It is a quiet decision to rest a weight on something larger. The decision does not remove the need for wise steps. It asks only that the heart stop carrying alone what it was not meant to carry alone. The body begins to breathe more easily when burdens are shared. When fears of the future crowd the room, try a simple act. Name one fear softly. Say the name in the mind. Then imagine handing it forward to the steady presence named in the verse. The hand does not drop the fear with a loud noise. It sets the worry on a bench by the road. The bench is not a dismissal. It is an assurance that the worry can wait. The morning will bring clearer sight. For now, rest. Mercy walks beside assurance. Mercy is the practice of being met where a person is, not where that person ought to be. The verse's promise is merciful because it does not demand perfection. It reassures a tired heart that love is not conditional on startling bravery or bright discipline. Love is offered in the dark hours, just as it is in the light. A quiet image often helps me when sleep resists. Picture a room where a kettle waits on a low table. The kettle is warm. The chair is close. A friend does not have to speak to be present. The warmth alone does its work. In the same way, the assurance of love does not need to be loudly proven. Its presence is felt in the small warmth of the heart. There can be nights when guilt sits heavy. Guilt can be faithful in its warning. It can also become a repeating record that the heart carries like wet cloth. The passage in Romans loosens that habit. It does not erase the need for right steps where harm has been done. It does, however, remove the idea that love stops when mistakes happen. Mistakes can be named and tended. Love remains. There is a practical step to take before sleep. Write down one tiny thing that represents a hope for tomorrow. Keep it very small. It might be a short sentence, a call to one friend, a walk around the block, a cup of tea at noon. Fold the paper and place it near the lamp. This act is not a plan that guarantees results. It is a small trust exercise. It trains the hands and the mind to expect that the next day holds usable moments. The assurance the verse offers also changes how the night is held. Instead of quiet hours becoming a time to work through crises alone, they become a place of rehearsal. The night is a space to practice handing over. It is a safe place to try surrender on a small scale. The experiment is simple. It asks only for a breath and a small image. I speak a short prayer now. The words are soft. They ask for the truth of the verse, to rest in the chest. They ask for courage to hand over the heavy things for a time. They ask for a gentle trust in the gardener of the soul. The prayer asks for mercy where mistakes have been made, and for peace that does not depend on perfect answers. It is not elaborate. It is like a closed fist opened slowly. If sleep is tentative, return to the breath practice. Place the hand on the chest. Breathe in love as light. Breathe out a small worry. Do this until the shoulders ease. Repeat the verse slowly in the mind. Let its cadence slow the racing thoughts. The repetition is not to argue with fear. It is to give the heart a steady measure it can hold. In the morning, if the choice is possible, carry one small token of the night's practice into the day. A pebble in a pocket, a folded paper in a wallet, a short note to oneself on the mirror. These are not superstitions. They are reminders for a heart that tends to forget. The reminders help to bring the evening's assurance into the tasks that follow. I close the book lightly for a moment. The lamp breathes its steady light. The verse rests on the page like a simple promise. Nothing in all creation, it says, can separate from this love. Let that truth be a pillow tonight. Let it be a low, steady thing you can put your head against. Before the next passage, do one small thing. Lay the hand flat on the heart for a breath. Say the words of the verse in a whisper inside. Let the sound be a soft anchor. Then let the mind drift like a boat that is tied to a quiet dock. There is safety in the tie. The boat may rock. The dock holds. Tonight, the reading is a companion. The lamp is low. The book closes slowly. Rest in the knowledge that love reaches further than any fear. Sleep with that depth beneath the feet. Wake gently to a day that holds the small promises of mercy and care. The words are placed like pebbles along the path. Walk slowly. Trust quietly. Rest now. I turn the page slowly. The lamp breathes on the paper. My finger finds Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. I read the lines in a low voice. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him. He will make your path straight. The words sit like a small map. They do not show every turn. They guide the next step. Trust asks for a hand to be placed on a rope. It does not remove the river. It gives footing for one careful step at a time. Trust is not bravado. It is a quiet decision. It is saying, tonight I will not try to hold everything. Tonight I will place one small thing in a larger hand. The verse asks for wholeheartedness. Whole does not mean flawless. Whole means sincere. It means a will bent toward letting go. I tell you a story from near the family shelf. It is about my sister. Her hair is silver at the temples. Her laugh still carries a light in it. She has always planned carefully. Schedules sit in neat stacks. Lists have margins that are tidy. That habit brings safety. It also creates a hunger to control what cannot be controlled. A change comes slow. A letter arrives. A diagnosis reads like weather. The body becomes a landscape with a new contour. Plans fray at the edges. The lists look thin in the lamplight. The neat margins no longer hold the weight of unknown. At first, the coping is practical. Appointments are scheduled. Questions are written down. Every small detail is checked off. The hands stay busy to keep the mind steady. Sleep struggles. The mind rehearses likely outcomes. It plays scenarios like a small film that refuses to end. One night, I come with the Bible and a cup of tea. I sit across from her and open the pages. The lamp between us makes two small islands of light. The room does not demand explanation. It asks for presence. I read the Proverbs verse slowly. The words are a quiet counter to the list of what-ifs. There is no sudden fix. Instead, there is a small change in the way breaths are counted. The shoulders drop a fraction. The eyes, tired from calculations, soften. Trust is not declared like a sword. It arrives like a hand that lifts a small burden from the lap and sets it on a table. My sister had been taught that loving well means fixing. She learned to be the one who made a plan and carried it out. The illness teaches other things. It teaches the language of receiving. The act of being held becomes a lesson. It asks her to place faith in a presence that is steadier than her own plans. She begins with tiny practices. Morning starts with a short walk when the air is cool. The walk is not meant to solve any problem. It is simply to remember a body that breathes. A small card is placed on the dresser. It reads in a hand, she can smile and trust the path. She does not think of grand surrender. She thinks of small obedience. She asks the day for a single kind thing. Often the day answers with a neighbor's call, a bowl of soup, a clear moment of calm. Trust grows like a slow root. It is not dramatic. It finds places where anxiety had lived. Those places are soft. The routine helps. She begins to say out loud one sentence before sleep. It is not loud. It is not many words. It is a short reminder that nothing can separate from the love that holds her. The sentence is a tether. It ties the night to a larger care. There is a practical element here. Trusting God's plan does not mean ignoring medical advice. It does not mean removing prudence. It means holding both wisdom and surrender together. Her hands learn to do both. They hold a pill bottle and a prayer card. They arrange appointments while also placing one worry on a shelf each evening. This double action is a kind of graceful balance. The family learns alongside her. Blanc rearrange. Visits come in softer rhythms. People stop trying to fix everything and start to be present in small, faithful ways. A sibling reads a book aloud. A neighbor waters the little fern on the window. A child brings a single wildflower in a glass jar. These acts do not cure. They make the road softer. There is a night that stays with me. It is one of those long hours where sleep moves in and out. My sister cannot keep her mind from running. She speaks few words. I do not offer them back. I read instead. Proverbs sits open. The lamp is low. The words about trust make their way into the room as a steady rhythm. I fold the verse into a memory from our childhood. We walked once along a river. Our mother taught how to read a map. She taught that a map can show direction, not distance. We learned to follow one clear line at a time. My sister remembers that lesson. She ties it to the verse in Proverbs. If the map is God's care, following one step matters more than knowing the whole road. In those hours, the story becomes simple. My sister imagines life as a corridor lit by a few lanterns. Each lantern shows only the next few feet. Trust is the act of walking toward the next lantern. The mind no longer needs to plan every room. It needs to place one foot where light is present. She holds on to the idea of being eternally loved. Eternal does not mean remote. It means close, in the way a mother holds a child at night. It means love that arrives in small gestures. It is the hand on a forehead, the presence that does not tally mistakes. The knowledge of being loved forever makes the present splinter smaller. Thoughts that used to spin with terror begin to find a margin where mercy sits. One afternoon, she asks for a box of old letters. The box smells faintly of paper and sun. She reads a note written decades ago. The handwriting is shaky, but sure. The words are simple love then. Loved now. The memory is a bridge. It connects a younger promise to the present need. The sense of being beloved seeps like warm tea. This is the kind of comfort that the Proverbs verse encourages. It is not a promise of a tidy plan. It is a posture. It is the heart bending toward a hand that makes a path. In practical moments, trust looks like asking for help. It looks like keeping a list short. It looks like resting when the body asks. It looks like accepting care without needing to repay it immediately. There are setbacks. There are days when the old planner emerges with a sharpness. Fear finds its way back. In those days, the family returns to small rituals. A verse is read slowly. A breath exercise is practiced. A paper with one hope is folded and placed under a lamp. The ritual does not remove the difficulty. It keeps the heart from being swallowed by it. Éternel l'œuvre frames décision. When the future feels fogged, a smaller question helps. Instead of asking what will happen, the question becomes, what is the faithful next step? Will I rest this afternoon? Will I accept dinner tonight? Will I allow another to drive me to the appointment? Each small yes is a gesture of trust. The story of my sister is not a miraculous reversal. It is a portrait of slow surrender. The trust that grows is practical and tender. It is a trust learned in the night, shaped by small acts of care and the steady reading of promises. Love is a field beneath the feet. It is wide enough to hold fear and grief. It does not deny what is hard. It offers a path that goes through it. I read again the 2 lines from Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not rely on your own understanding. The room listens. The voice is steady. The sentence is a small rope across the river. It does not change the water. It changes the way the feet touch the stones. There is an evening when the family gathers small and close. No grand speeches are made. The presence is quiet. My sister sits with a shawl over her knees. A child places a small drawing on her lap. The drawing is clumsy and bright. It reads like a map only a heart can draw. We hold hands. We do not fix the future. We set one small light on the table and let it be enough for the next step. Trusting God's plan becomes more honest in that setting. It does not deny fear. It names it, and then turns toward the larger truth that nothing can separate from the love that holds us. That love is not a remote doctrine. It is a presence beside the bed. It is a hand that steadies the wrist when the night is cold. It is a promise that the way forward will be held, step by small step. Before sleep, I close the Bible and place my hand on the cover. I speak a brief prayer, soft and simple. I ask for courage to walk toward the next lantern. I ask for gentleness for the body and patience for the mind. I ask that the knowledge of being loved forever be felt not as an idea, but as a warmth in the chest. One small practice closes the night. Choose one worry that sits heaviest. Name it quietly. Place it on a small card. Fold the card and set it beside the lamp. Promise yourself to revisit it in the morning light. For tonight, let a different thing be trusted, to hold it. Let that trust be a small act. Make it a practice like turning out a lamp. Do it gently. The story of my sister does not end here. It continues in slow steps. The trust she learns is a daily leaning. It becomes a rhythm. It teaches the family something simple, that plans are useful and love is greater. That the steady promise beneath the plans is what steadies a heart. Now rest a little. Place a hand on the chest. Breathe slowly 3 times. With each breath, think of one small step for tomorrow. Let the lamp of trust be the light you follow for the next feet. The night keeps its calm. The promise remains. Trust quietly. Rest. Now, I sit with the Bible in my lap. The lamp makes a warm circle on the page. I breathe slowly and place my hand where the heart is easiest to feel. Tonight I read from Psalm 34. Verse 17 and 18. I speak the lines like a small promise. When the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears. He rescues them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the broken-hearted. He saves those who are crushed in spirit. I let the words rest. The room grows softer around them. I do not explain or argue. I only let the sense of them land. The lines do not demand a sudden change. They offer a companionship that can be trusted for the next small hour. Broken-heartedness is not one thing. It has many shapes. It can be a quiet ache behind the ribs. It can be a sharp hollow where laughter once lived. It can be a dull weight on the shoulders that does not shout. The psalm speaks to each of those shapes with a simple sentence: He is close. Closeness is the small thing the heart needs in trouble. A presence near the ear, a hand on the shoulder, a lamp that is set close enough to warm the hands. Imagine a small room. Rain taps the window softly. A single chair sits by the table. A blanket is folded over the back. You are not required to climb out and fix everything tonight. You are invited to notice one small comfort: the lamp, the blanket, the breath, the presence that will not leave. That is the nearness the verse names. I want to tell you a quiet story. It is a true moment, nothing dramatic, and it shows how trust can lead to an unexpected kindness. The tone is gentle. The outcome is simple and good. A few winters ago, a neighbor lost a small but much-loved apartment. A stove fire took little in the way of life, but it took the familiar things: papers, akuat, a wooden bowl. The person who lived there felt bereft in a way that surprised them. The home had been a quiet anchor. Now the anchor was gone. The chest tightened in the nights that followed. They came to me one evening. The voice was low. The hands trembled with cold and with a need that was not only for shelter. I read Psalm 34 to them slowly. We did not rush the words. We let the lines become a place to breathe. After the reading, a small choice followed. Trust can appear in one tiny move. This person chose to ask for help rather than hold the loss, like proof of failure. Asking felt risky. Pride often makes asking look like a weakness. But here the asking was a gentle act toward an unseen hand. It was a decision to believe that nearness in the verse was not a distant idea. It was present. The request was simple. Could someone spare a blanket? A bowl? A cup of tea? The first response was practical. A neighbor brought a blanket. A friend left a frying pan at the door. A church member came with a bag of clothing. The practical help was gentle and immediate. It made a small nest out of what remained. But something else happened too. When hands arrived with help, strangers and neighbors began to speak in quieter, kinder ways. A landlord who could have been strict loosened a rule and offered a temporary room. A woman who mended clothes took an interest in the wooden bowl's missing chip and offered to fix it. A young person who had lived near the apartment for years remembered how the resident had shared bread once in summer and returned to repay the small kindness in this new season. These acts were ordinary. They were not dramatic rescues. They were smaller. They were the work of neighbors and friends showing up. The unexpected outcome was this trust opened a door not simply for objects, but for care. The person received not only a blanket, but a sense that the world still held good hands. The heart, once guarded, softened a little. The weeks after the fire were not easy. There were phone calls and forms and many small irritations. The heart did not become whole in a night. But the person slept with a blanket and with a quiet knowledge that the nearness of God reached them through the hands of others. That moment taught me something about the psalm. God's closeness often looks like a person who brings soup. It often looks like practical things and unexpected kindnesses. It is not always a grand vision. It can be a neighbor who remembers a name. It can be a small act that says, "You are not alone." Trust did not make the fire vanish. It did not erase the loss. It did allow another horizon to appear. The person who had been broken found small places to breathe again. The neighborhood learned to be gentler. A rough patch of life softened because someone chose to ask and someone else chose to answer. I remember the night the stove went out for good. We sat in the borrowed chair and drank tea from a chipped mug. The lamp made a small island of light on the paper on the table. We spoke little. The silence was shared. The psalm was not a magic spell. It was a truth that gave permission to be fragile and still be loved. The presence promised in the verse came near, in human hands. Comfort in times of trouble often uses ordinary tools. A hand that steadies, a blanket that warms, a word that does not judge. The psalm's closeness is not an abstract comfort. It is a nearness that reaches through practical mercy. It meets the body and the mind together. There is a small practice to try if the heart feels battered tonight. It is simple and safe. Place a hand over the place where breath is easiest to feel. Breathe in slowly. Think of one small thing that hurts. Name it softly in the mind. Let the breath gather that burden as if it were a small pebble. On the exhale, imagine placing that pebble on a doorstep inside the room. Do not lock the door. Do not expect the pebble to vanish. Just set it down. Repeat 2 more times. This small ritual is not a cure. It is an act of handing. It trains the hands to let some things rest for a time. It allows the chest to loosen by the fraction that gentleness provides. It invites the presence the psalm names to draw nearer, not as a distant force, but as a companion beside the threshold. I offer a quiet prayer now. The words are few. They are simple and gentle. They ask for a closeness that sits near the broken. They ask for hands to gather where there is loss. They ask for courage to ask when asking is hard. They ask for peace that can be breathed in small measures. Amen. Before sleep, choose one tiny thing to do tomorrow that practices this trust. It can be as small as accepting a cup when it is offered. It can be sending a short note that says thank you to someone who has helped. It can be making a small plan to rest. These acts are not big gestures. They are lessons in receiving and in knowing that being loved is not earned, but given. If the night presses in with heavy thoughts, return to the verse in the mind. Say it softly. Let its cadence be a gentle anchor. Remember the neighbor with the blanket. Remember the chipped mug warmed by hands. The psalm's promise keeps company in ordinary ways. I close the book for a moment. The lamp keeps its circle of light. The room is quiet and steady. If sleep comes, let it come. If wakefulness waits, sit with this simple truth. when the heart breaks. God dravs near. The nearness often moves through a cup of tea, a blanket, a shared silence. Rest a little while in that closeness. We will read again later. For now, breathe and let the gentle presence hold you. I open the Bible and let the lamp make a small circle on the page. My hand rests where lines are worn. I read Lamentations 3 slowly, letting each phrase land like a single pebble. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I do not hurry the words. I let them breathe. I listen to the cadence as if it were a quiet bell. The room holds them without rush. The night leans in. There is an image I bring with me often. Picture a lighthouse on a jagged shore. The sea is angry. Wind presses the waves into white teeth. Ships grope in the dark. Each mast is a question. Each hull feels the pull of the rocks. The lighthouse does not panic. It keeps its slow, steady sweep. Its beam cuts through spray and fog. Sailors do not see the whole shore at once. They see the light and turn. They do not race the storm. They follow the pattern of that steady lamp. The verse feels like that light. Mercy is the beam. It returns each morning. The beam does not fail when seas rage. It comes on again with the dawn. The ship that has been lost knows a way to steer by that light. The navigator does not invent a new star. The navigator trusts the light that keeps being given. I stay with that picture for a moment. The lighthouse does not remove the storm. It does not promise an easy passage. It promises a guide. That is the mercy. The verse names a presence that keeps appearing. The mercy does not depend on my skill. It depends on the faithfulness of the one who tends the light. I pause and breathe. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. Imagine that beam sweeping the room. It is slow and kind. It finds the places that fret. It does not shout. It makes a pattern that the heart can follow. There is a small practice I offer you now. Before sleep, name one thing that feels like a ship in storm. Call it by a single word. You do not need to list everything. Choose the thing that presses most tonight. Hold it gently in your mind. On the out-breath, picture the beam of mercy finding that ship. Imagine the beam steady and sure. You are not required to steer the whole night. You only need to trust the light long enough to place one foot forward in the morning. Mercies are new every morning. That phrase holds a soft repetition that is both promise and discipline. It means the account is not closed tonight. It means the debts of worry do not compound without end. It means a new day comes with fresh capacity to receive care. I think of mornings as small refills. A kettle boiled, a window opened a crack, a warm sweater placed on a shoulder. These are plain things. They are not cures for deep pain. They are means by which the body remembers it can be attended. Each morning offers a tiny menu of such attentions. Mercy meets the body there. There is a neighborhood I know. People pass by each morning with a cup or a dog or a folded newspaper. Some mornings are ordinary. Some come after hard nights. A neighbor who seemed distant will bring an extra loaf. Another will leave a jar of soup at a door. These small acts are the lighthouse in town. They are visible care, coming again and again. Do not mistake the simplicity for smallness. Small things steady a life. They keep the pathways clear when storms return. One fresh mercy in the morning is enough to begin again. It is enough to loosen the jaw. It is enough to let the breath return to a kinder pace. If worry insists on roaming later in the night, try a different posture. Lay the palm over the place where breath is felt best. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Name 3 plain gifts you received today. However small, a warm cup, a kind word, a quiet moment. Hold them lightly. Let them anchor the chest for a single minute. This is not a litany of forcing joy. It is an act of recognition that the world still offers mercies, even in small measures. I remember a winter that seemed to refuse spring. Snow lingered in corners. The days felt tarnished. A friend knocked on my door early one morning with a small jar of honey and an unasked-for loaf. She did not speak of reasons. She did not make a case. She simply left those things as if offering a beam. That kindness lasted for days. It was a mercy given in one morning, and tasted again the next. The memory of it still steadies me. Lamentations does not avoid sorrow. It sits in its presence. Yet it offers this surprising insistence that mercy returns. The return is not conditional on how neat the heart is. It is not contingent on achievements. It appears because the heart of God is faithful. The lighthouse keeper does not check whether the sailors have earned the light. He tends it because the sea is merciless without it. Practical acts follow from this truth. Plan one small mercy for tomorrow. It does not need grandeur. Leave a note for yourself that says rest. Prepare a simple breakfast the night before. Set out a mug. Promise yourself 20 minutes of daylight outside if you can. These small promises are like the lighthouse having fuel. They make the morning's mercy more reachable. There is a gentle discipline in expecting mercy each morning. It trains the hands to ask for help. It teaches the mind that not every night is a verdict on the whole life. A bad night is simply a night. A new day holds a fresh measure. That hope does not annul the reality of grief. It meets it like a lantern placed near a wound. The light does not erase the scar, but it allows the wound to breathe. When I read the verse aloud, "Ye keep my voice low," I let silence sit between each line. Silence is not empty here. It is part of the mercy. It gives the words room to sink. In that quiet, a small prayer forms without words. It is a hand laid gently on the heart. It is permission to be tired. Now a brief, simple practice for the morning that follows a restless night before rising. While the body is still half in sleep, place a bare foot on the floor. Feel the coolness. Say a single sentence inside "Mercy is new today." Do not add demands. Do not expect instant solutions. Let the sentence be a soft map. Then breathe 3 slow breaths. Each breath lets the chest remember how to expand. The small sequence trains the body to expect care in the day. Mercy comes in people as well as in promises. Think of who has been a lighthouse for you. It might be a friend, a sibling, a guiad neighbor, someone who tends your needs without statement. If that person exists, Give thanks in the morning. Send a short note. If no such person is near, ask for a small kindness. Ask with a simple sentence. Asking is not a sign of failure. It is a means by which mercy becomes visible. I fold my thumb along the margin and rest the book on my knee. The line about faithfulness hangs like a tether. Great is your faithfulness. The words sleep easy between the lamp and the dark. The phrase invites trust not as a one-time act, but as a repeated leaning. The lighthouse beam returns not once, but again and again. At each sweep, I speak a soft prayer. Now, the words are small. They ask that the mercies be felt in the body. They ask that the light be visible in the fog. They name no long list of demands. They simply ask for a morning that brings one small ease, a cup that is warm, a breath that comes a little easier, a hand that remembers to be kind. If you wake in the night later, return to the image of the lighthouse. Picture its beam finding a ship. Picture that ship turning slightly towards safer water. Picture the beam being faithful. Not because the ship is worthy, but because the keeper tends the light. Hold that picture as a small ritual. Let it become a short prayer when worry rises. There is one last practical thing we do tonight. Find a small object you can keep by the bed. A pebble. A coin. A small stone. Place it in your hand for a moment. Name one mercy you trust will meet you tomorrow. Put the pebble down and leave it where you will see it in the morning. When you rise, touch it and remember the promise, new mercies, great faithfulness. I close the book gently. The sound is soft. The lamp's circle narrows as the room lengthens into night. The verse has done its work in this small hour. It has offered a pattern. Mercy comes again. Help arrives in the dawn. Rest now. Breathe slowly. Let the image of the lighthouse sweep across the room. Let one small mercy hold you tonight. And let the promise of morning draw you toward a kinder step. Amen. I open the Bible and let the lamp rest on the page. The paper is thin and familiar. Mu finger finns Philippians chapter 4. I read the verse slowly, hardly louder than the breath in the room. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. I pause when the words fall. The sound hangs like a hush. In the stillness, the sentence settles slowly into the space between the lamp and the dark. It does not demand an answer. It offers a small assurance. Peace that surpasses understanding is not the same as ignorance. It is not a blank that avoids pain. It is a quietness that holds things steady. Even when the mind puzzles and the heart aches, think of a garden at night. The beds are dark. The soil keeps warmth from the day. The gardener does not need to explain why the roots rest. The garden simply rests beneath a sky that keeps watch. That is the kind of peace here, a guard over the tender places. I speak softly about guarding. The word suggests a watch. It suggests someone standing near, not to frighten, but to protect. Imagine a gentle sentinel who knows the root of worry and the shapes of fear. The sentinel does not shout. He keeps a lantern and a patient walk. His presence allows sleep. His watch means the small pulses of anxiety do not need to become an alarm. The body can loosen because someone keeps vigil. Breathe with me now. Place a hand where the heart is easiest to feel. Inhale slowly. Picture a soft light gathering there, a small glow that warms without burning. Hold the breath for a quiet count. Exhale and imagine that soft light widening into a gentle shield around the chest. Repeat twice more. The breath trains the body to accept the image. It is simple and practical. Words like guard and shield can sound distant. Let the image be nearer. Think of a warm quilt folded over the knees. Think of a trusted friend closing the door on the cold. These small pictures are nearer to the heart than any abstract phrase. The peace that Paul names comes in the form of these small comforts, knitted to the rhythm of the present breath. There is a humble paradox in this peace. It comes while the mind still wonders. The understanding does not have to be complete for the heart to be quiet. A person may not know how a problem will resolve. One may not reconcile every fear with a tidy reason. Yet a calm can be found in the margin between questions. The margin is a place where trust quietly gathers, like dew. I keep the reading slow. The lamp makes a small circle. Outside, night goes on its own business. Inside, the words are like a low bell. Let them strike again in the mind. Let the thought sink. Peace is not earned by cleverness. It is given. It arrives where restless thought meets a steady presence. A small story comes to mind. A friend once carried a worry like a loose stone. It clinked in pockets. It rattled in sleep. Many nights were measured by the sound of that pebble. One evening, tired of the clatter, the friend sat on the porch and breathed. No counsel was offered. No advice came. A neighbor walked by and sat a short way off, holding nothing but company. The stone did not vanish, but the presence made it light. The sound grew less important. The friend slept better that night because the pebble had been counted and held without judgment. That is often what the peace of God does. It does not erase the things that trouble, but it changes how they feel in the hand. There is also a guard for the mind. Worries spin images and rehearsals. A mind can become a theater of the worst scenes. The peace mentioned in Philippians is like a quiet usher who dims the stage lights. When the stage is dim, the scenes lose their force. A different, calmer script can begin. Small and patient. Try a brief practice for the mind. When a troubling thought arrives, notice it as if it were a leaf on a stream. Do not catch it. Do not chase it. Watch it float past. Say to the thought in the mind, "Not now. I will meet you in daylight." Then return to the breath. This is not avoidance. It is a small training that keeps the mind from being dragged into a place where sleep cannot go. Peace that surpasses understanding often moves through ordinary things. A cup of tea warmed at the bed, a blanket folded over cold knees, a light left low in the hallway. These are not extravagant. They are the hands of care that make a room safe. When the night presses in, small acts can become the way peace is felt. The verse does not separate the spiritual from the ordinary. The guard covers both heart and mind by working through everyday tenderness. The idea of guarding can be comforting and also humbling. It acknowledges that the heart and the mind are fragile. They need protection. That need is not a failing, it is human. The peace offered is large enough to meet every kind of smallness. It meets confusion and grief. It meets boredom and the low ache of loneliness. It does not pity. It steadies. There is a practical way to welcome this peace into the night. Make a small corner of the room for it. Turn a pillow gently. Fold a shawl across the lap. Place a small book within reach. The corner need not be ornate. A didi. Gentle space signals to the body and the mind that rest is intended. The hand that arranges the corner is the same hand that accepts the peace. Gratitude helps the heart notice peace when it comes. Gratitude is not a demand to feel cheerful. It is a simple naming of a thing that was given. Before sleep, list. In the mind, 3 small mercies from the day. They can be ordinary, a warm meal, a brief smile, a moment of clear air. Hold each mercy like a pebble. Turn it in the hand and let its texture be felt. This small practice opens a doorway in the chest. It makes space for hope to rest. Hope and gratitude pair naturally with peace. Hope does not promise an untroubled life. It promises direction. It is the sense that tomorrow may carry something gentle. Gratitude tunes the ear to the small mercies already present. Together they teach the heart to wake toward a day that holds both need and provision. I speak now a short prayer. The voice is soft and spare. The words are not ornate. They ask for the simple gift of peace. They invite the guarding presence to settle near the chest and the mind. The request is small, steady the breath, calm the thought, make rest possible. The prayer ends without flourish. It is like a hand laid down and left there. Before sleep, take one more quiet breath. Breathe in as if drawing the shield nearer. Breathe out as if setting down a worry on the bedside table. Imagine the shield warming in the lamplight. Picture it covering not for a single hour, but through the whole night. Believe, for this hour, that the guard is enough. When morning comes, welcome it with a simple ritual. Open a window, a fraction. Let fresh air find the face. Sit for a moment and name one hope for the day. Make it small a walk. Akol, a cup of tea. Then say thanks for a small mercy you noticed last night. These acts do not require energy to be grand. They only need attention. They train the heart to begin the day leaning toward hope and gratitude. Rest is not a finish line. It is a practice. Peace can be practiced like breathing. Practice tonight is small and repeatable. Breathe. Place a hand on the chest. Imagine the guarding light. Name a mercy. Place one hopeful step for the morning. Repeat as needed until sleep comes. I close the Bible slowly and keep my hand on the cover for a moment. The lamp breathes. The room listens. The promise of Philippians rests like a soft blanket, a peace that exceeds the reach of questions and a guard that keeps watch when the mind wanders. Let that presence be your companion for the night. One final breath together. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale and loosen the shoulders. If sleep comes, lead it. If wakefulness remains, Return to the image and the small practices. Peace will not be hurried. It will appear gently and do its work. Rest now, wrapped in that steady, quiet guard. Amen. I sit with the Bible open between my hands. The lamp makes a soft pool of light on the page. I let the room breathe with me. Tonight, I turn to Deuteronomy 31. My finger rests on verse 6. I read it slowly, like a quiet promise. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. The words are plain. They are also stubbornly sure. They do not depend on how I feel in the moment. They stand like a mark on a map. The map does not change when the traveler trembles. It offers a direction. Faithfulness is a steady thing. It does not flash and vanish. It keeps a slow rhythm. Imagine a stone bridge across a small river. Each night, the water runs. The bridge holds. The sound of the river is honest and loud. The bridge does not promise to stop the current. It promises a way across that has been tested by many seasons. I hold that image tonight. The river can be fear, regret, or the small anxieties that circle the bed. The bridge is God's faithfulness. It is not careless. It has weight and craft. It is built to hold the steps of many travelers. You may cross slowly. You may sit in the middle and rest. The bridge keeps steady. Faithfulness appears in two gestures. One is presence. The other is promise, kept over time. Presence means someone walks beside the traveler. Promise, kept over time, means the same presence returns again and again. It is not a one-time act. It is the shape of habit and loyalty. Think of a lamp keeper who tends the light through seasons. The keeper does not only show up on bright nights. He tends the lamp when the wind is rough and when the sky is clear. That tending is not flashy. It is faithful work. It mirrors the verse's assurance that God goes with us. There is a practical way to hold this tonight. Place a hand over the sternum. Breathe slowly. On the in-breath, imagine a warm seam stitching across the chest. On the out-breath, imagine the seam softening the places that hold too tight. Repeat 3 times. Each breath is a small lesson. The body learns to accept presence. It learns that company can be a steady thing. Faithfulness also means memory. God remembers, promises the way. A gardener remembers where each seed was planted. The seasons do not surprise the gardener. The timing may shift. Frost can come. Still. Hands return to tend the soil. The faithful gardener does not abandon the plot when sprouts are thin. That is the kind of care named in Deuteronomy. It is marked by return and attention. I tell a small story that holds this truth. A man I once knew kept a lamp in his kitchen on a low shelf. It was nothing special. Its glass was faintly chipped. Somehow that lamp became a marker in his household. Whenever someone felt unsure, they would stand in front of it. The light was small, but it had a habit of being there. People began to lean on the rhythm of its presence. When storms came, the lamp was the first thing lit. In time, the lamp became a quiet witness that someone in the house cared enough to keep a light ready. It did not solve all troubles. It only made the next step visible. God's faithfulness is like that lamp. It does not erase storms. It makes the next step visible. The promise of not being left is a kind of light. It does not answer every question. It does steady the feet. If fear wakes you at night, try a small practice. Name the fear with one quiet word. Do not list its details. One word is enough. Hand that word to the image of the lamp. Imagine placing the word where the light touches the table. Leave it there for a while. You do not throw it away. You simply place it where it can be seen differently. The act is a little trust exercise. It teaches the hands to carry less. Faithfulness comes also as a company of small things. A neighbor who knocks with soup, a friend who sends a brief note, a child who remembers to call. These are not dramatic signs. They are the ordinary ways loyalty shows. The verse in Deuteronomy expects this sort of companionship. It often moves through human hands. There is another gentle image. Think of footprints pressed in soft earth. Walks happen in pairs. When a companion walks beside you, the path is easier. There are two rhythms to follow. If you cannot match the stronger pace, you can slow. The companion does not leave. This is the heart of the promise, not leaving, not forsaking. The path has company. If memories of abandonment have been strong for you, the night can feel like a place where those memories return louder. That is understandable. The darkness makes echoes large. Here is a small method. To meet those echoes, place a notebook by the bed. Write one sentence, a time when help came that surprised you. Keep it short. It can be a cup left at the door or a hand that held a moment without saying much. Read that line before sleep. Let the memory remind the heart that faithfulness has visited before. It will likely visit again. The promise in Deuteronomy also invites a certain courage. Be strong and courageous. Those words are not a demand to armor the heart. They are an invitation to lean on the steady presence, so that fear does not have to be the primary voice. Courage here is the willingness to take one step while trusting that you are not alone. Courage can be a small act, picking up the phone and speaking one honest sentence, saying yes to a cup of tea, letting the body rest when it asks for rest. These acts are not heroic by spectacle. They are brave because they bend the will toward trust in tiny ways. I will read the verse again in my mind. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be dismayed. For the Lord, your God, goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Let the cadence become a lullaby. The words do not need a loud voice. They are steady in a low one. Faithfulness is not only about big acts. It is often most visible in repetition. An accountant who pays the same bill on the same day, a nurse who returns at dawn, a gardener who tends the same bed season after season. The repetition becomes a proof. Proof in this sense is not an argument for belief. It is a track record that the heart can rest its weight on. If sleep is slow tonight, practice a gentle counting. With each breath, name one small thing that has returned to you in recent days. The kettle boiling, a friend's message, a meal that arrived. Count up to 5. Each counted mercy is a small evidence of faithfulness. The practice trains the eyes to notice the steady items in a life. or team, noticing changes how the night feels. There will be nights when the promise feels distant. Doubts come that way. That is human and expected. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. It is often its companion. The difference tonight is the posture taken toward doubt. Do not dress doubt in armor. Let it sit on a chair beside the lamp and be seen. Invite the presence of the promise into the same room. Watch how both can be held. The faithful presence does not banish questions. It keeps them company. I close the Bible for a short moment and rest my hand on its cover. The lamp breathes its slow light. The room is still. I offer a small prayer now. The prayer is simple. Thank you for walking with us. Help us to notice the small, faithful acts that arrive. Teach our hands to let go of what we cannot carry tonight. Give courage for one small step. Keep us company while we sleep. Amen. Before sleep, place a small object on the nightstand. A pebble. A coin. A piece of cloth. Let it be a tether to the promise you just heard. When the mind wanders, touch the object. Remember the lamp, the bridge, the gardener. Remember that you are not left alone. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a moment. Breathe out and let the body soften. The promise rests beneath the breath now. Let it be enough for one night. Rest. I will read again with you soon. I sit with you in the quiet. The room breathes slow, and even my voice is low and steady. I open the page, and I read a line that has cradled many nights. I read Psalm 4, verse 8, slowly. I let the words rest between us. In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. I do not hurry the sentence. I let it land like a slow footstep. The words are a small lamp. They do not banish every shadow. They make one place safe enough for the next step. Think of that safety as a hand that holds a harbor. The hand curves like a bay. Waves come and go inside the curve. They do not pull the small boats into the dark. The hand keeps the water gentle near the shore. That is the image I invite you to hold. If it helps, close the eyes lightly now, if closing them feels wrong. Soften the gaze. Allow the lids to grow heavy without forcing them. Let the room become a quiet shell. Notice the surface you lie on. Name it in your mind. A bed, a couch, a floor with blankets. Thank it for its support with a soft thought. The body is a shelter tonight. It does its work quietly. Let it be enough. Breathe in through the nose. Count slowly to 3. Hold 1 beat. Breathe out on the mouth with a long, gentle sigh. Repeat this 3 times. Each breath is a small rehearsal in trust. The muscles learn by action. Picture a small place that is all simple comforts. A cove with low cliffs. A willow that bends to shade the sand. A wooden bench near the tide. A warm shawl folded across the knees. The air smells faintly of salt or of pine. Nothing in this place asks for hurry. The sound is patient. The light is soft. Imagine you are brought to that cove on a gentle path. The path is safe. You do not need to chart it. Someone has walked it many times. You walk slowly. Your feet feel the cool sand. The body remembers the ground beneath and relaxes. This place is held like a child in arms, held like a small boat in a calm harbor, held like a letter kept in the pocket of a coat. The holding does not crush. It receives. It keeps close enough to make the next breath easy. Let the breath follow the image. Breathe in and imagine the arms of that holding place. Breathe out and feel a small weight leave the chest. Each out-breath places one small worry at the edge of the sand. It sits there without demand. It can wait. If a thought comes that starts to spin, do not chase it. Notice it as if you were watching a bird across the water. Name it simply. Let it fly. Return to the cove, to the sand, to the shawl. The mind will try to solve everything. For now, only small tasks are needed. Rest is one of them. Tune into the body now with a slow scan. Start at the toes and move upward. Soften the toes. Let them curve and let the ankle loosen. The movement can be tiny. The idea is simple. Allow release. Move that gentle permission into the calves. Let them unfurl. The knee relaxes. The hips follow. If there is a knot, do not pull at it. Imagine the warm sea reaching it and smoothing it just a little. The lower back has room to descend. The muscles find a quieter shape. Relax the stomach. Soften the chest. Let the ribs open like a small shell. The shoulders drop by a fraction. The neck lengthens. If the jaw holds tension, part the lips slightly. Allow the tongue to rest behind the teeth. Little changes make the whole posture softer. Place the hands where they feel right. Rest them near the belly, or on the chest, or at the sides. The hands do not need to do anything, but be present. They are anchors. Let them be still. There is no need to chase perfect calm. The work is small. It is a sequence of short permissions. Each permission lets the body lower its guard. Each permission makes the mind less eager to argue. Picture the cove again. A small lantern sits on the bench. The lantern makes a soft circle of light. It is not blinding. It is enough to read a single phrase. You sit and you watch the lantern sway a little with the breeze. Your shoulders follow the lantern's slow rhythm and begin to ease. Hold Psalm 4, verse 8 in a single breath. Breathe in and think. In peace, I will lie down. Breathe out and think. For you alone, make me dwell in safety. Repeat this once more. The words are not a test. They are a steady rhythm to match a steady breath. If your hands are cold, move them to the warm place. Cover the feet if they are cool. A small act of tending the body is a way of receiving care. Prepare a glass of water nearby if the throat dries. Straighten a pillow if the neck asks for it. These are small, practical mercies. If noises arrive from outside, allow them to be part of the scene. Imagine they belong to the cove. A gull calls. A distant boat motor hums. The sounds do not intrude. They fill the edges like salt in the air. When the mind wants to measure how well you rest, remind it gently, tonight is practice. Practice does not demand perfection. It only asks for return. If sleep does not come right away, practice again. Breathe. Picture the hand that holds the cove. Let the holding be enough for this hour. There is a small practice for worry. Take the thought that is loudest and hold it in the mind for one breath. Give it a name. One word, then breathe out and picture, placing it in a small boat at the water's edge. Watch the boat drift a fraction, and then tie it to a post near the bench. The knot is gentle. The boat is safe. You are free to rest. Think now of a comfort that feels safe. It might be a blanket, a shallow bowl of soup, a song sung softly years ago, a child's folded drawing. Bring that object to mind. Hold it up like a small lantern. Let its light warm the chest. Allow gratitude to sit beside worry for a beat. Gratitude does not erase trouble. It only balances care. I speak now a very short reading again. Not to preach. I read Psalm 4 once more, slowly and quietly, for the ear and not for argument. In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for you alone. O Lord, make me dwell in safety. I speak the verse into the room like a soft benediction. The words are simple. The promise is a cushion. Let the phrase be a blanket you can tuck around the shoulders. If prayer is close to your heart, place it there. If prayer feels distant, let a breath be the prayer. A single breath that names one need and then releases it. Prayer can be this small and still be real. There are practical habits to help rest. Turn the screen away. Set alerts to silent. Lower the lamp if it burns too bright. If a small sound helps, let it be steady, a fan at low speed. Rain on the window. The sweep of a clock. The body likes rhythm. Rhythm remembers how to drop tension. Breathe with a longer out-breath now. Inhale for 4. Hold 1 beat. Exhale for 6. Let the hollow of the exhale be a space where tiredness sits down. Repeat 2 more times. Each exhale teaches the nervous system that it can let go. Imagine a hand placed on your shoulder. It is not asked to fix anything. It only rests there. Feel its warmth. Let your muscles soften toward that warmth. If tears come, let them flow. Tears are a way the body clears what clogs the chest. They do not mean you have failed. They mean the heart is breathing out. Think of tomorrow as a field of small tasks, not a mountain. Name one small action you might take tomorrow that would be gentle for you. A short walk, 1 call, a warm cup at noon. Keep it small. Let that plan be a tiny anchor. It is not a demand. It is a gentle thread to the morning. I will pray now in a short, simple way. The prayer is a quiet hand offered to the heart. Lord, in this small hour, let peace find the room. Let the promise of safety rest like a hand under the head. Teach the breath to slow. Give mercy where the chest is tight. Keep watch without disturbing. Amen. Stay with the image of the cove for a moment longer. Let the waves come and go. Let the lantern breathe. Let the hand that holds the bay remain steady. If sleep comes, let it take you kindly. If wakefulness stays, return to the breath and the verse. Practice is gentle. Mercy is patient. When you are ready, let the eyes close fully. Let the lids fall like curtains on the small stage. The room will keep its hush. The promise of Psalm 4 will keep its place by the bedside. You do not need to solve the night. You need only to rest in the safety offered. I will stay in stillness for a while. I will not hurry you. If you sleep before I finish, that rest is welcome. The work of sleeping is good and needed. The gentleness of this hour has done its job when the body lets go. Rest now. Lie down in peace. Sleep under the hand that holds you. When morning comes, small mercies will be waiting. For now, breathe and be still. The book closes in my hands with a soft hush. The page edges sigh against one another. The lamp widens its small circle and then lets its light rest. I sit with that quiet for a moment. I let the stillness be the next sentence. I speak now in a voice that stays low. I offer the closing prayer. I do not rush it. Each line breathes. Each pause is part of the prayer. Breathe with me once. Breathe in slowly through the nose. Hold for a steady beat. Exhale through the mouth with a gentle, long out-breath. Let the shoulders drop a fraction. Let the jaw soften. This breath is a small offering. It is the way we place a burden down for a while. I place my hand where the heart feels warm. I do this not to command feeling. I do this to remind the body how to be held. In the quiet, I name a few things. I name comfort. I name strength. I name peace. Each name is a small lamp I set on the table beside you. Lord, I speak simply. Tonight, we come with tired bones and worn thoughts. We come with little triumphs and old pains. We place all of it gently on the threshold. We do not hide what is raw. We do not try to appear better than we are. We bring honest hands. Grant comfort where the chest aches. Let a warmth settle there like a soft shawl. Let the places that kept watch loosen. Make the tight places pliant enough for sleep to come. Touch the mind that rehearses endings and make it receive a calmer script for the night. Give strength to the hands that must continue tomorrow. Give rest to the shoulders that have carried too many small weights. Teach the body to accept a pause. Teach the heart to accept small help. Make courage grow like a root that finds water slowly, not like a bright flame that burns out. Pour peace into the mind that cannot stop turning. Let peace be not a hard task to achieve, but a quiet presence that arrives without fanfare. Guard the thought that worries through the dark. Surround it with a calm, so steady that it feels like a bench beside a river. Let the bench hold whatever needs to be placed there. Draw near to those who are broken-hearted tonight. Come close to the low. Private griefs that do not show on calendars or lists. Sit with them as one who knows how to keep company. Do not hurry the sorrow. Let it be felt, and then let it be folded into your hands. Teach the grieving to breathe again. Be with the anxious and the restless. Make the schedule of the mind gentler. When fear speaks loud, place a softer word beneath it. Let that softer word be an assurance, an unloud fact that you are not abandoned. Let the fact lodge like a quiet stone in the pocket of the spirit. Bring mercy to the places where shame lingers, where blame sits like a sharp pebble. Hand a cloth of gentleness. Let memory be re-seen through a merciful eye. Mercy does not deny what happened. It simply changes who carries it. Make the task of carrying less oppressive. Give rest to those who work the night. Watch over hands that must move while others sleep. Keep company with those who have no quiet bed tonight. Send presents into rooms where sleep will be brief. Let a series of small mercies meet them, someone to pass a blanket. A vormketle, a short, unasked, for word of kindness. Bless those who worry for others, for people who keep lists of names and pieces of need. Grant a moment of release. Help the mind set down one item at a time. Teach a patient trust so the schedule does not crush the heart. Show a path where small deeds are enough. I pray for healing in slow ways, not always for soon changes, sometimes for steady mending. Put a gentle hand where cells need repair. Soften the ache that is stubborn. Give wise care to hands and minds who must choose next steps. Let hope sit without pressure. Hope is not a loud promise that erases pain. Let it be a small ember that glows when morning comes. Keep it sheltered from careless winds. Teach the heart to tend it without forcing it to be something it is not yet. For those who cannot sleep because of regrets or old words, give a soft release. Replace rehearsals of blame with a single act of letting go. Let that act be small, a brief thought offered like a pebble set down at the water's edge. The pebble does not vanish. It simply does not need to be carried tonight. Surround the watchers and the lonely with nearness. Where distance seems wide, give a sense of company. Let memories of care rise like small lights in a line. Remind the heart of kindness received in other seasons. Let those memories be real enough to warm a cheek for an hour. Give patience to those who care for others. For hands that wash, feed, or hold. Give a quick reserve of calm. Let fatigue be met with a quality of presence that does not collapse under the weight. Provide small stores of endurance that are enough for one more turning of the day. Be near the ones who fear tomorrow. Teach them a method to hold one small plan in the morning and leave the rest for daylight. Let the night be a practice field for trust. Let the small promise that one step will be shown be enough to rest on. I ask for gentleness in speech when morning comes. Let the first words be soft. Let them be an offering rather than a demand. Let the voice that greets the new day be a steady hand. Provide kindness that spreads like warm tea. For children and elders, for people whose names are familiar, and for those unknown to us. Hold them close. Keep them safe in ways that match their need. Give small miracles of care a sleep that steadies, a dream that eases fear, a morning that arrives lighter. I pray for sleepers who do not find peace easily. Open a small window of rest for them. Let them taste it without the need to measure it. Let the experience be enough to rebuild a fraction of confidence. Small gains are real gains. I pray for those who listen, but cannot belong to words tonight. You are present in the hush, and sometimes words feel like glass. Even glass can catch light. Let a sliver of light reach you. Let it touch a place that has been dry. Let that tiny touch be the beginning of a slow watering. Lord, keep watch in a low way. Keep watch like a keeper who does not shout. Keep watch like the person who tends a small lamp and does the same every night. Your faithfulness is quieter than thunder. It is closer than breath. Keep doing what you do best. Stay near. I give thanks for the hands and the voices that brought comfort tonight, for neighbors, friends, and the small kindnesses we named, for the lamp that read aloud, for the pages that turned. Thank you for the mercy that came in little acts. Thank you for the hush that followed. Here is a small instruction I leave in the quiet before you turn the light out. Rest your hand on your chest for one breath. Let that gesture be the last work of the day. It is a way of saying, I accept being held for a while. It is a way of handing over a single weight. Make it a soft ritual. If you wake later, do not scold the wakefulness. Meet it with the same low breath. Offer one simple phrase to yourself. Rest for now. Repeat slowly, 3 times. This phrase is not a lecture. It is a small permission. Let permission be enough. I am the one who has read these words to you tonight. I close the Bible and I keep my voice low. I do not press for answers. I offer companionship. I leave a lamp that will dim when you rest. I will not pry into private things. I will not demand belonging. I simply remain with you until your breath finds a steadier pace. May good dreams visit with no harm. If nightmares come, may a gentle waking be near. May the morning bring a small mercy that surprises without fanfare. Meet that mercy with a hand that is ready to receive it. I bless you with these simple things: comfort that settles like cotton, strength that comes in measured pieces, peace that keeps watch without forcing the mind to agree. May your body unbind in small measures. May your thoughts find friendly shapes. May your heart learn to accept help without shame. Rest now. Let lids grow heavy. Let the muscles give way in a gentle decline. Let sleep come like a tide that fills a shallow bay. If it does not come at once, do not worry. Return to the breath. Return to the image of a quiet hand that holds. Return to the small lamp at the bedside. Good night. Sleep in a peace that does not need to be proved. Wake to a morning that holds a new, small mercy. Know that you are not alone. Know that the same faithful presence that keeps watch tonight goes with you into the day. Amen. Good night. I will stay a little longer in the hush. Then I will go. If you sleep now, that rest is welcome. If you wake, come back to these breaths. Come back to this quiet. The room keeps its light low. The promise endures. Rest well.